What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video, hanging out with you to discuss the Jets against the Los Angeles Chargers at MetLife Stadium on Monday Night Football. Here is your preview, predictions, and picks show. Yes, I will be at the game. This is my one game a year that I'm making it out to. You guys know how I feel. I'd rather watch the game from home, on my own couch, cover the game, bathrooms right across the hall, get my own drinks that aren't $1 million, but I am excited. I am so excited to see everybody at the game. Going to be a really good group of people, so I am amped up for it. It is time. Let's get into the predictions. The Jets are 4-3 with the 26th offense in the NFL and the 8th defense in the NFL. For the Chargers, they are 3-4, 9th in offense, 24th in defense. These teams are practically an inverse of each other. And the Jets have a much better coach. That obviously helps. But the Jets offense has struggled and their defense has played great. The Chargers offense for the most part has been really good and their defense has been not so great. A big question for this game is, what does the New York Jets offensive line look like? Earlier today, we found out that Dwayne Brown has returned to practice. They opened up his 21-day window, so that means he could return this week. Potentially, we'll see as the week goes on, as we get quotes and all that kind of stuff, we will see. But again, it's really important to note that it's been a few weeks since he's played. He hasn't played since week 2. Mekhi Becton's looked good on the left side. I don't know what they would do at that point if they would want to put him in. It sounds like, based on what we heard yesterday, they would move Mekhi Becton back from left tackle to right tackle, which would mean, if you're keeping track at home, he has now gone left tackle, left tackle, and potentially back to right tackle all in the span of 3 months, right? From August to early November. So obviously not an ideal situation for someone coming off of a knee injury, but the Jets have to get the best 5 out there, and they are convinced that he is part of the best 5. Okay, so scratch that, not even scratch it, but just put that to the side for a second. What does the interior look like? Is Joe Tippmann back this week? The Jets' rookie standout offensive lineman has played at right guard. Could he make his debut at center with Connor McGovern out? Or are we going to see Newman, the star of the show? Hello, Newman. Are we going to see him this week? It's obviously something that's going to be in the conversation. And is Saffold in the mix, or what's the deal with Roger Saffold? It would be a pretty quick turnaround if he was signed on Tuesday and then activated for Monday. But it's something that you have to, discuss. I would say probably not. If my just flat out guess is going to be that it's Becton, Tomlinson, Newman, Turner at right guard, and Max Mitchell at right tackle. That's going to be my guess for this game. Okay, as for the Chargers defense, right? We talked about the Jets offensive line being a big story. Chargers defense, they stink against the pass. They are pretty good against the run. You got to give them credit. They are pretty good against the run. So it might not be a great Breece Hall day on the ground, but against the pass, 32nd in the NFL in passing yards against. On average, they are allowing 297 passing yards against. Good God, that is horrific. That is really bad on the defensive side of the football. So my question is, can Zach Wilson give you a game that's closer to the Kansas City game? It'd be great to see him throw for 242 touchdowns, no picks, and limit turnovers. That would be the best case scenario. But even not, can he just give you 80% of what he was in that Kansas City game? Get the ball into the end zone a couple of times. That would be the most ideal situation, because the Jets offense in the last 3 weeks has 3 offensive touchdowns. So they're averaging 1 offensive touchdown per game, which is obviously something that needs to improve. And against legitimately the worst pass defense in the NFL, now would be a good time for Nathaniel Hackett and Zach Wilson to get something going in the pass game. But that defense does have 2 very good pass rushers in Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. You have to be able to contain both those guys. And a big thing that Zach has to do in this game is he has to get the ball out quickly. In this game against the Giants the week prior, he was holding on to the ball for over 3 seconds again. It was 3.05 seconds that he was holding on to the ball. Granted, coverage was good, weather was bad, and the offensive line had injuries. All those things can be true, while also pointing out that Zach Wilson had to do a better job in some areas in that game, one of which was getting out the ball quicker and not being late. He's like half a second late on these things. If he's getting the ball out under 3 seconds, we'll call it 2.75 even, that's a good window. That extra quarter of a second, it might not seem like a lot, but it's a really, really big difference getting the ball out, hitting your guys in stride, and taking advantage through the air. Now, for the, I almost said the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, what I am worried about is not necessarily their wide receivers, which they have, some pretty solid wide receivers, and they have a great quarterback in Justin Herbert. But I'm worried about Austin Eckler in the screen game. An area in which this Jets defense can struggle at times is against the screen and quarterback runs. And I think Austin Eckler, coming off a game where he had 7 catches for 94 yards and a score, is someone that I would have circled as the player to watch. The Jets corner trio is absolutely fantastic in locking guys up. Look at this graph right here that was just put out earlier today. When looking at corners who allow the fewest separation, look at where the Jets starting trio is. It's just unbelievable how good Michael Carter II, DJ Reed, and Sauce Gardner is. It's unbelievable. And we know the pass rush. And also, on top of these things, we've seen the Jets create turnovers against good quarterbacks. They did it to Allen, they did it to Mahomes, and they did it to Jalen Hurts. I think they would be able to do it again against Justin Herbert in this game. But my biggest area of concern for this Chargers offense is Austin Eckler, especially in the screen game. Okay, let's get to my stat predictions. What is it going to look like for Zach Wilson in this game? I do think he throws a little bit more. I think he has an improved game than what we've seen, but I don't think it's going to be like that 300-yard, 3-touchdown game. I hope it is, but until proven otherwise with this offense, I'm going to go a little bit more on the conservative side. I'll say 19-35, which is a 54.3 completion percentage, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, and an 82.8 passer rating. As I mentioned, this defense of the Los Angeles Chargers fares pretty well against running backs. So Breece Hall, 15 carries, 63 yards. I don't think he will be, stellar, have one of over his 100-yard games. I also don't think he's going to run for 10 yards in the game. I think, they'll be, around 4 yards a carry. And Garrett Wilson, I think, is due for a big game. He had 7 catches for 100 yards last week. I think he is going to be the focal point of the offense this week. 8 catches, 115, and back in the end zone for the first time since week 2. I want to see him toast Asante Samuel Jr. Why? Because Asante Samuel Sr. was running his mouth about Darrelle Revis in the offseason and was saying that he was not the best corner, and he was running his mouth about Sauce Gardner and all these things. So it would be nice to see the Jets, shut him up. So how about this? How about a Sauce Gardner interception as well on top of it? Just the cherry on top, Sauce Gardner pick as well. Okay, it is time to make my predictions for the score against the spread. Both Casey and I were on the Jets last week. It was a push. They were favored by 3 points. They pushed, so not a win, but not a loss. I am now 2-4-1 picking the Jets, which is not great. Casey is 3-1. I am going to pick the Jets to win this game outright. They're 3.5-point underdogs, but I think they win this one 20-14. Lower scoring game. Obviously, that's how the Jets play. The Jets also play tight games, and the Chargers always play tight games. It's just, for whatever reason, these two teams seem to just always be in these tight matchups. And something else that I haven't touched on yet that I think is going to play a big factor, and it's important to note because both of these guys became head coaches the same year in 2021, is that the Jets have the coaching advantage with Robert Saleh. I know a lot of Jet fans are really hard on Robert Saleh. They don't think he's a great coach. Well, look at Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley finds ways to lose every single week. He's a defensive-minded coach with one of the worst defenses in football. And again, like that team, they have a lot of talent on both sides of the football. And for whatever reason, they just cannot get it going. This is an overrated team. They are traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast. I get it. It's a night game. I get it. There's an extra day. So it's not like the same thing as a West Coast team playing on the East Coast on Sunday at 1 o'clock. So that doesn't have the advantage. But still, I don't think they're going to travel well across the country. People are high on the Chargers after their blowout win over a backup quarterback no one's ever heard of until 3 weeks ago, and a team that's going to be picking probably twice in the top 5 in the Chicago Bears. All right, let's see who Casey likes. Casey is on the road Chargers. Funny, she's going for the road team. Kind of figures, but anyway, let me know your thoughts on this one. Do the Jets pull off the upset win at home? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Subscribe if you're new. Give the video a like before you go. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I will catch you next time.